I'm coming to the mountains from whence I came, for the sea say it. Straight from the mountain, straight from the mountain, onto the sea. Oh, cold. Like a feeling deep down said, I remember who I am, said, on my way. I know I've been rough, but I'm good to go. So be careful to see, careful to see when you. Easy on the mountain, said. Do you remember where you came from, said? Do you remember stay? Remember where you came from, seed root down, say. So leave me on the side of the road. Cool. Better tuning. I feel, better job on it. Keep working, right? Unison tuning. Match it up. Right here. Chapter 25. Treaty. The fight was brutal. The two forces clashed together on the plain, and their battle raged all about the hill. To the bloodthirsty ravens soaring overhead, it looked like a wild sea in a great storm, its surface surging with glittering with violent movements of men and weapons. Neither side showed any signs of giving way. The Fianna used to driving back numbers many times theirs, now found themselves hard pressed to hold their own against a host of nearly equal size. The warriors of the Daedanon, themselves accustomed to sweeping aside mortal adversaries, were clearly astonished to have these keep up a stolid front before them. Still, neither side showed any hesitation or any weakness in the fight. The slender, beautifully lethal Daedanon spears, their glinting points fashioned in the forges of the magic smith called Goibnu, they're blunted against the stout, iron-bound Fian shields, the lovingly honed swords of the Fian fighting men, tested in scores of battles, bent and twisted against the elegant, frail-seeming blades of the Shi. Warriors of equal courage, strength, and skill fought toe-to-toe, locked together in thousands of single combats that seemed to have no easy victor. Upon the mound stood the only observers of the savage spectacle, the healer, Luibra, and the daughters of Midhir, joined by the Druids of the Daedanons. Adversaries joined as one audience in this con spot amidst the raging violence. Nearly deafened by the noise of the rattling weapons and shouting men, they watched closely, horrified and fascinated at the same time. Eyes searching for those they knew in the milling mass. Mioran's eyes were fixed always on Finn, easily following his shining silver hair as he moved. He had led his own clansmen and the sons of Midhir in an attack directly against the Daedanon leadership. They were face to face with them now, and Finn strode forward to confront the stout chieftain of the Shi Fionacade. I think that's how you say it. Fionacade. Something like that. Okay. Well, Lear, Finn said, It's you who've brought this about, and all to repay the wrongs you claim. Let's see. You claim I've done you. Go back before me now, or we must finish the fight that you and I began. Lear looked from Finn to Bodurg, his expressions uncertain. The High King of the Shi gazed back with a resolute eye. It's the truth he's speaking, he said. We've not come here to gain revenge for you. Accept the challenge now, if you will. Lear's face reflected the complex emotions that filled him now. His fear of fighting Finn once more gave way to despair at the meaning of Durg's words, and then to look of stoically resolve. Clearly, willing or not, the blustering man had no other choice in any honor were to be salvaged, if any honor were to be salvaged. Okay, I'm going to try to speak more clearly. Chew on my face. Okay. Challenging myself. He drew himself up into a fighting stance, and this time with no bragging word moved upon his foe. It was no easy fight for Finn. The huge chieftain's desperation generated an enormous power within him. He battered at Finn with sword and shield, dealing swift, massive blows that drove the younger warrior back. Those fighting around them paused in their own combats to watch. None with more interest than Durg himself. Finn retreated slowly, fending pardon me, fending off the blows, not striking back at first. Soon, the chieftain's initial surge of energy began to wane. The blows came more slowly. Lear began to pant with exertion. It was then Finn acted. He moved to one side, dropping his sword, leaving his chest exposed. Lear, seeing the opening, lunged forward, all his weight behind the thrust, but Finn sidestepped it with a humph of expelled breath. Lear sailed by. Finn swung round, slamming the storm shield against the chieftain. Lear staggered back, lost his footing, and crashed to the ground. Finn bounded forward to stand above him, bringing up his sword to point at Lear's unprotected chest. If I strike this time, you'll die, Lear, Finn told him. It's ended now, but you can have your life. Surrender and forget your revenge. The chieftain looked up to him, the anger of his defeat showing in his crimson face. I will not forgive your insults, he said, and I will never yield. You've won, so kill me now. I'll kill no defenseless man, Finn said, stepping back and lowering his blade point. You arrogant whelp, Lear growled. With a surprising eruption of power, he lifted up, swinging his sword back for a cut at Finn. But Finn was swifter, his own weapon rising again, the point shooting forward to drive through the chieftain's heart. Whoa! Lear grunted and grew stiff. His arms stopped in mid-swing. The weapon falling from his hand, he shuddered, and then he toppled backward to the sod. Sightless eyes staring upon to the iron skies. Finn looked up to see Durg nearby watching him from a circle of warriors, she and Fionn alike, that had formed about the field of this contest. Finn stepped away from Lear's body and strode toward the High King. stopping close before him to eye him challengingly. "Well, High King, is it you and I who must fight now?" There in the midst of the battle, the two leaders, the young captain and the ageless ruler of the Shi, took the measure of each other for a long moment, while their warriors watched expectantly. Then Bodurg looked round at the battlefield, where the two forces were still locked in a grim struggle, strangleholds upon one another. "It will make no difference," he said slowly, earnestly, and regretfully, "if I kill you, or you kill me. It will be the same. Look about, Finn. Our two forces are equal in this. No one can win. If the fight continues, it can only end with all of us measuring for lengths upon the bloody ground." "It could be so," Finn acknowledged, "and I've no love for seeing my warriors or your own wasted. Lear has received his satisfaction," Bodurg said, "and he has paid for his mistakes. And he has paid for his mistakes." Slow down. "We are all men of Ireland here. To destroy one another would be a great wrong. But you wanted to destroy the sons of Mead here, your own people, only because they meant to have their freedom," Finn pointed out. "Because they defied our rules," the She ruler corrected. "I thought to allow it might have meant others could choose to do the same." "If they do," Finn said, "what difference? This one tiny group." "Say no more," Bodurg said with a smile. Bodurg said with a smile, sounding like my own father now. "And your willingness to defend these proud rebels has made me see that he was right. Midhir is long dead, as are most of his clans. These few that are left have earned the right to freedom with their bravery. More shedding of blood would make no sense. So, Finn Mac Coomhole, if you will agree to a truce, we will talk of a final peace with them." "I will agree, gladly," Finn told him, sheathing his sword. Bodurg did likewise. The two moved together, each man's sword hand stretching forth. That's why you shake hands. Ah, old school. Clasping the other's wrist in a gesture of peace. I knew that. I'm just pointing that out. It's important. Each hand took a goblet and lifted it from the table. Finn and Bodurg turned, lifting the goblets high, and looked round them and broad smiles. Hell, that's what I have. I have this. This is old school. Ooh, look at the chalice. Yes. Okay. Each hand took a goblet and lifted it from the table. Finn and Bodurg turned, lifting the goblets high, and looked round them. With broad smiles, the house of the children of Midhir was crowded with the men. Both the chieftains of the Fionn clans and the kings of many of the Sids mixed there, along with Dawn and his own family, Canoe Royal, Cowlight, and the Position Luibra. All of them raised their goblets in reply. Okay, here we go. We salute the fighting men of the Tuatha De Danann, Finn said. Never have we faced warriors bolder or more skilled. From this day on, we'll consider them not as strange beings or creatures from the hidden places, but as worthy adversaries, the fellow men of Ireland. Of Ireland, all Ireland! There we go. As well. Next page. And should they wish to walk the surface of the earth, they have no resistance from us, but will be welcomed, for they have a right to it as much as we. We thank you for that, Finn Macumhall, said the High King of the Sidhe graciously. But there are few of us who would choose to do so. We've become a people of another world now, and alas, perhaps something besides men. Our powers would soon disappear if we were to leave the Sidhes which protect us. And not many would wish to give up what we have grown so used to over these centuries. Tir na nog, land of forever, huh? Land of forever, young. Okay. This brought smiles and murmurs of assent from many of his people. Yes, he went on, smiling himself. The truth of it is that we've come to accept and even enjoy the way most of your mortals see us. They've forgotten that we were mortals ourselves long ago. The dim tales of us have been transformed to legends by our own bards. And since the men of Ireland now fear or respect or even worship what they think we are, I've a feeling they've find it a bit uncomfortable and maybe disappointing to have us walking amongst them again. It looked to Finn a certain nostalgic tone entering his voice now. No, my friend, the world has become a place only for mortals. The real magic is fading, and maybe will fade with it one day. But I'm certain that it's larger and brighter for memory of you, and the Fianna will become. What you are will keep living in the spirit of Ireland, even when your kind of man is gone. Even when your kind of man is gone from the world. That's cool. I'm going to read that again. No, my friend, the world has become a place only for your mortals. The real magic is fading, and maybe will fade with it one day. But I'm certain that it's larger and brighter the memory of you and the Fianna will become. What you are will keep living in the spirit of Ireland, even when your kind of man is gone from the world. He looked round him once again, raising his voice to address all in the room. Our bond is made, he proclaimed. From this day on, the children of Midhere are free to live upon the earth. And from this day, the Fianna will deal as openly and equally with the Tuatha De Danann as they do with the other men of Ireland. May the bards long relate the tales of the warriors who were not only champions over all the other mortals in the world. He smiled in an ironic way. but walked with the gods as well. Touched his goblet to Finn's, and both men drank. A cheer went up amongst the surrounding group, and the assembly fell to a general celebration. With that said, all there we go, symbolic. Okay. They mingled and talked, mortal and immortal, telling tales, comparing weapons, exchanging great lies, laughing and drinking. And for that time, they were as a one great company, a sight never seen in Ireland, or indeed ever seen since. For Canute Royal, it was quite a reunion, with him greeting many old friends. For Cowlight and the others, it was clearly a most exhilarating event. But Finn soon seemed to grow moody. After a time, he left the celebration and slipped outside. Below the mound and far across the plain, the two hosts were absorbed in a celebration of their own, blending in a massive single crowd where Fionn and Daydanon fighting men became indistinguishable, sharing food and drink and fires. Finn watched them for a time, but the sight did little more to cheer him. Finally, he moved round the house to a quieter spot and sat down on the hillside. Staring toward the horizon thoughtfully. "There you are," said a voice. He looked up to see Mjoren standing beside him, looking down with an expression of concern. "I just felt a need to be away from the others for a little time," he said. Managed a faint smile. "So, after so long alone, I feel a bit strange. Such a company. But that must be it." Hold on. "Oh, there we go. Is it?" she asked. "Or is it that your own sorrow has come back on you now that this is over?" Intuition. "Well, Canute Royal did warn me that if it would happen," he admitted. "And so," she said, dropping down beside him, "what will you do?" "I don't know," he said. "I vowed to myself that I'd not waste my life in useless wandering again. I know now that is madness. But if you never find your wife again," she ventured carefully, "will you ever forget? I mean, could you ever?" He turned to her, taking her hand. "Sit up." "I know your meaning," he told her. "If she had never been, then it would be you. I want you to believe that." Okay. Mjoren shook his head regretfully. "But now there's no way that can ever be." He looked deeply, searchingly into her eyes, and then she nodded. "Yes," she said in a controlled and forthright way. "I understand. I had to talk to you." Let's see. "Before, just after you had remembered, you left here so quickly. I couldn't know how you felt. Now I know that you truly love her, and you'll not be happy until she has been found. But that may never come, Finn said in frustration. I've searched the corners of Ireland for nothing. I have no way to find her. But you have, she said. I have heard the whole story from Canoe Royal. I've told it to Durg. He has said that he could help you. What? Finn said excitedly. When? Just now. She told him. But Finn, she went on, more hesitantly, looking away from him as if suddenly ashamed to meet his eye. You must know this. I thought of not telling you. I thought maybe you really didn't care for her. That maybe you had given up. I hoped that you might be. She paused and shrugged. Well, I just had to know. She fixed him with an anxious gaze. Can you forgive me for my selfishness? Mjorn, I understand, he told her earnestly. I'm only sorry that. No more of that, she said sternly. I need no pity from you. Anlu, I mean, Finn Macomb Hall. Be off with you now. You must be anxious to speak to the High King. He looked at her for a moment as if wanting to speak, but not knowing what more to say. Finally, he leaned forward and kissed her gently upon the lips. Then he rose and strode regretfully away. She made no move to follow him. She only murmured, Goodbye, Anne Luan, and sat staring out over the countryside as Finn rounded the building, brushed past Luibra, who was just coming round the other way. The physician paused to look after Finn, noting his eager expression. Then he went on to her. Well, that must have been good news for him, he said. When there was no reply, he lowered his lanky form beside her, put out a hand to her chin, and gently but firmly turned her face to him. There were tears in her eyes. Let's go, she said irritably, shaking her head to cast off his hands. You've no healing for me. You might let me try, he said with a smile, putting a comforting hand upon her own that she let stay. Meantime, Finn entered the hall and quickly sought out Bodur. Mjoren said, You might help me to find Fjordorsh, the dark druid. The talk around them stopped. The sound, the dreadful name. Finn and the Daydanon men alike turned to look at the two. Cowlight exchanged a look of consternation with Knut Royal. I have heard your story, Boderg said. I feel deeply for you. The laws of the Tuatha De Danann forbid anyone to reveal the location of any she. But because of our new bond and because of the great wrong he has done to you, I will help you. Do you mean you can tell me where he is? Finn asked with eagerness. I can, the king answered. But first, understand this, Finn. It is very dangerous. Few among us have his powers, and you will be facing him upon his own ground. You'll have very little chance against him. Finn met his gaze with a grimly determined eye. Tell me, he said. The Amulet, chapter 26, and that is the end of chapter 25. The infant slept peacefully, curled within its nest of twigs and leaves, for the rudeness of its bed. It seemed at ease and quite comfortable. More importantly, it seemed secure in the presence of the fawn that slept beside it. The animal's soft body curved around it for additional warmth in the tiny grotto. Okay, and that's where I stop. It's my tradition to read the first paragraph, and I will pick that up either later tonight or most likely tomorrow. But that's getting close, baby. Getting close. How many pages? Not many. Like 2 chapters. Woohoo! Yeah. I'm like, am I going to do this? Yes. I'll do it again. I know. Sounds like Woody the Woodpecker. I'm showing the way, but it's a dangerous mission. Just doing it for love mistake. Thank you. Circle round.